CSIS 2470 is filmed before a live studio audience.
Well, we finally arrived at the infamous object-oriented programming. Let's take a look at this fabulous object-oriented chessboard here. The basic content, of course, can be found right here as usual, and this tells you the images you're going to need to download. These are the chess pieces, and it tells you the folder structure, and you'll be creating an object that will be reused over and over to create the pieces. You'll be creating a chessboard, and then the advanced content here. So let's walk through a live version of it right here. So again, this is my version. Make your version look better, look different, look like your personality, your style, your sense of design, your desire for a good user experience. And what we got here is a board that looks like wood, I think. And notice that it is labeled with the rank and files, the A through H and the 1 through 8, and that's required as part of the assignment. And then there are 3 buttons here. 2 of them are from the advanced content. The main one is the set board button, and I'm going to open up the console because some things happen in the console when you click that button. Now, this is all behind the scenes stuff that the user would never know, they would never see, but I'm going to have you print some stuff to the console to make grading it a little bit easier so that I can see the object to make sure that the object is created properly. But to the user, when I click set board, all they see is the pieces show up, right? What really happened though is you created 32 instantiations of the piece class. So you made 32 objects and then you put them all in an array, which you can see there in the console. And that's part of what you have to do is print that out. And then, of course, you can rotate the board. This is part of the advanced content. So when I rotate, you'll notice that the pieces rotate a little slower than the board itself. I just did that for a fun little effect. You don't have to do that. But what you do have to do is we have to see the board rotate like that. The board must animate. You'll also notice that if you know how to play chess, the A is on the left for the person playing the white pieces. And it's kind of hard to tell, but these down here at the bottom are the white pieces, and at the top are the black pieces. And so it goes A through H from the white player's perspective, and going upward 1 through 8 from their perspective. If, however, the black player is looking at the board, so we rotate it so the black pieces are down below, you'll notice that their perspective, it goes from H through A, and it goes from the bottom up, it goes 8 through 1, so it's backwards from what the white player sees. And so that's why the numbers look upside down on some of them. So it has to look like that. Okay, so the other thing, though, is you can change the theme. And again, this is all spelled out in the instructions. But when I click that button, now we have red boards. And now we have this khaki color or whatever. And then orange and teal. Now be careful. I was thinking of making the teal color black, but then you can't see half the pieces, right? So that didn't work out very well. So you can't use that. Okay, the last thing that you have to know about, you'll notice here, by the way, the set board gets grayed out once we use it the first time. So we're going to reset by refreshing here and be able to use that button again. And I'm going to go change my code, and there will be some errors on purpose in my code. So we'll do that, and then we'll come and look at how that affects it. Okay, so the first error, what I did was change the position property when I instantiated one of the pieces. And so I get a console.error right here. And notice it didn't fully instantiate all the pieces over here. And I have the thing that says invalid position input. The first part must be a letter A through H. In my code, I put an X there. Now, I'm not going to show you my code, right? Because I want you to come up with your own code. But what I did was try to instantiate a piece with a bad invalid rank and file number, right? I had X3 or something like that. And so it's telling me the first letter has to be A through H. Okay, the next one here, I changed the number. It can only go up to 8, so I changed it to go to 9, and we get this. The second part must be a number between 1 through 8. So that's the next error messaging. Yeah, this next one here, I tried to use a piece image or a chess piece image that doesn't actually exist. That's not valid. When I click set now, you'll see that I get this invalid image file name. The valid images are listed below. So these are the ones that are valid names that I'm allowed to use, and I tried to use something that wasn't on that list for that queen right there that's missing on the board. All right, and the last one here, when you instantiate these pieces, you have to say whether they're the light pieces or the dark pieces. And I chose the words light and dark because some chess pieces don't use black and white. And so your instructions tell you that you have to only accept those 2 values when you instantiate. So I just changed the code to try to accept something other than light or dark. And when I click set, it says invalid color input. It must be light or dark. So I think I tried to put black or something, and so it wouldn't accept it. So I get an error message there. All right, so I've reset it now, and I've fixed all the errors, so it should work just fine now. I click Set Board, and we're back to where we were. Rotate the board, everything works groovy. Change the theme, and it looks good. So if you come over here to the instructions, all that error stuff we just did, you'll be creating setters and getters here, and it tells you that the setter for the color will only accept those values. The setter for the image will only accept those, and so forth. And you'll need to console out the error message so that the programmer would know that there's a problem. And keep in mind, in the case of what we're doing for this would not be feedback that the user would get. They would never see that error message, because by the time the user would see this game, all the bugs would be fixed. There wouldn't be any console errors, right? That's for the programmer. So the idea is you build some classes or a class, and then the programmer tries to instantiate it by passing in the wrong data, and then the programmer gets an error saying, hey, you're not allowed to do that. So that's what that's all about. This is not the kind of thing that you would give feedback to the user in the console. Most users don't even know the console exists, right? So I think that's every detail you need to know about this assignment. So have fun curing your boredom by making a chessboard.